documents. The first are 40 publications that support natural immunity. 40 publications. The next I want to submit is the CDC briefing that Dr. Walensky was kind enough to bring to our attention. It was dated October 29th of this year, Science Brief, SARS-CoV-2 infection-induced and vaccine immunity, and want to call to everyone's attention, as the CDC points out here, the immunity provided by vaccine and prior infection are both high but not complete. The immunity provided by vaccine and prior infection are both high but not complete. And for now, the last, what I'd like to submit is something, the CDC's MMWR release volume 7, October 29, 2021, laboratory confirmed COVID-19 among adults hospitalized. Along with that, a review by a Dr. Martin Kulldorff, as well as some comments from some 20 physicians. I asked just to look at the study, just with concerns about that particular study.
Without objection.
You know, this morning I'd like to focus on immune versus non-immune, as opposed to conflating those who have natural immunity plus the vaccination. I will give you, there are some studies that would support some benefit to giving a vaccine to those who are already immune from natural immunity. I give you that, but the issue today I want to really lock in on is natural immunity versus vaccination immunity. We could have a frank debate, I'm sure, all day long about the pros and cons, and I would think that if we were given the lecture to our medical students, we would probably say the jury's still out. And here's all the information and the data. And I think that's why we have physicians, to be able to look at this data and look at this particular person's medical history about, do we feel the benefits of this vaccine outweigh the risk? And Dr. Walensky, my question for you is going to be, are you so convinced that this data is so much in favor of that the vaccine by itself is better than natural immunity by itself? Are you so inclined to give that advice to the White House and separate the Navy SEAL that I talked to yesterday from the military? A young, healthy Navy SEAL, he's probably got, oh my goodness, if he gets COVID, a 1 out of a million chance of having a serious hospitalization. At the same time, he has a 50 out of a million chance of getting heart swelling, which knocks him out of being a Navy SEAL at least for 6 months and probably forever. Are you so convinced that the data is so compelling that natural immunity isn't as good as vaccination? Again, don't conflate the two together. Are you so convinced that the nurses I worked with in Liberal, when this epidemic was roaring, the union worker at Wolf Creek Nuclear Plant that kept the electricity on months ago, that we held as heroes, that now we're going to punish them and separate them from the job? We took an oath to do no harm. Are you so convinced, is the data so compelling that you think that's what we should do?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. First, let me just go back to the initial point, which I don't want to conflate them, but let me just say, I think the studies are uniform, that vaccination after...
That's not my question.
Right, I understand that,
That's
but I
not my
want to make
question.
sure that we correct the record, because I do believe that you said some
We
studies.
said that 3 times.
I think the
get
studies
that.
are uniform. Okay, so if we're looking at infection-induced immunity versus vaccine-induced immunity, and we did transparently put a full review of the literature that's out there, 96 studies. I think if we were talking to our medical students, we would tell them that we do not have a correlate of protection. We can't measure whether you are protected or not, and we do know by virtue of the fact that our vaccine-induced immunity studies know for certain a date that we can follow what those correlates of protection are in effectiveness studies, and we don't have the capacity. Not only do we not have a correlate of protection at an antibody
I apologize.
level,
I need to move on. I apologize. Next,